and welcome to the 5th episode of the Darkness of Moria solo campaign. Chopstick Sleeper Hold! Skadoosh! In the first battle of this scenario, Cirith Ungol and the Last Alliance are facing off, but first we have to take their old battle wound tests. Starting with Louison on the left, he can join. And next we have Jonner in the middle over here, and he can join as well. Lastly we have Carsonil, and he can join. So the forces are at full strength and can face off against each other. There are only a 2-point difference in their companies. The scenario we are playing today is called Seize Ground. It's all about controlling objectives on the battlefield. We have one central objective over here, one chest over here, a trapdoor over here, some skeletons on top of this hill, and another trapdoor in this corner over here. The battle will last until one battle company has been broken, and then the battle may end on a roll on a 1 or a 2. So at the end of the game, the company that controls the most objective points wins the game. Alright, so the battle companies have deployed on the battlefield, and the Last Alliance have made up their mind, sending the bulk of their forces down the middle towards the center objective. This will be a very important objective to hold to win this game. On this flank they have put Simonir at this trapdoor, securing it for the Last Alliance, and can be able to shoot his bow from there. On the other side we have a man with bow doing exactly the same thing. As for Cirith Ungol, they too have taken their bulk of their forces in the middle of the battlefield, going to charge down this path to the tomb of Balin in the middle. They also have an archer on an objective just to secure it in the early game, and on the other side they have put one spearman at the trapdoor, and the spider is probably going to do a flanking maneuver over this hill to try to do something about the man with bow over there. So we have an exciting game ahead of us. I certainly am really excited to see how this plays out. Let's go into priority for the first turn. Alright, priority for the first turn. Cirith Ungol gets a 6 and the Last Alliance gets a 2. Alright, that is movement done for both sides, and this is a tactical game indeed. As the orcs went first, they went as far as they could to stay out of the range of the two archers from the enemy side. The only way they could shoot is if they moved half distance to be able to shoot, and they did. So now they're within range, but they get the -1 penalty. The rest of the Last Alliance force moved the full distance towards the center, keeping a tight formation. The orc archer just bides its time to be able to shoot in later turns, and the spider went up here out of range and out of sight of the enemy shooting. Alright, so we'll move into the shooting phase now. Going into the shooting phase, the orcs are out of range and cannot fire their bow at the enemy, but the Last Alliance will fire, starting with Simonir. He will fire his bow at the orc with shield in front over there. Needing a 4 up to hit because he moved, and he hits. Strength of 3 against defense 5, so we need 5s to kill the orc. Oh, that one is close. Should he use a point of might? Yeah, I think he does. He uses his might point, turning that into a 5, slaying the orc. The man with bow will fire at the orc with spear in the front over there, and the reason he chooses the spear is because of his defense of 4, which means he needs 5 up to wound. But first he will need to hit, and needing 5s to hit, and he doesn't get it. Priority for the next turn goes to the Last Alliance. Alright, that is movement done for both sides, and the Last Alliance just moved forward as fast as they could. The orcs have no choice, they are outgunned, and they have to go into combat as soon as possible to negate the shooting of the enemy. The giant spider, sneaky spider, moved up on top of the hill, making ready to charge into combat with the man next turn, which stood still, as well did Simonir and this orc as well, who is now the range to shoot his bow, and will do that in the shooting phase. Shooting phase for the Last Alliance, Simonir recognizes that the spider is closing in on his friend and he needs to help out. He stood still, so he needs 3s to hit, and he hits. The spider has only a defense of 3, so the elven bow is very strong against it, needing 4s to wound. Can he do it? He does, causing a wound to the spider. Actually, that was an in the way roll. So he got the in the way roll successful. Now he needs force. And he doesn't get it. Now the man will fire as well, but as he cannot see the sneaky spider, he will fire at the spearman over here, needing a 4-up to hit because he stood still and he misses. Alright, now it's the orc's turn, and he will fire into the first man with shield, and the reason for that is all of his enemies have a defense of 5, so he has no opportune targets. So he will need a 5-up to hit because he stood still and is an orc, and he misses. Alright, so we move into priority for the next turn. The last alliance gets a 2 and the orcs gets a 4. Alright, so the orcs got the dilemma of moving first, and the way they did it was to go on to one flank, trying to negate as many attacks as possible. However, the last alliance were too many in the center and got the jump on them. So the last alliance has the advantage over here, but the giant spider went into combat with this man over here, so that combat will be exciting for sure. Now, let's get into the shooting phase. Starting with this orc over here, he will fire at the spearman in the back. As he's not part of the combat, it's no in the way roll for combats, but the crypt or the tomb, however, is in the way. So we have to roll for that. But first he needs to hit, needing a 5, and he hits 4-up to get over the tomb, and he does not. Next we have Simonir, who will fire at Krishla in the middle over there, needing an in the way for the tomb, but he needs to hit first on a 3-up, and he misses. Starting the fighting phase over here with the elf with a 2-handed weapon against an Urukai with 2-handed weapon, both will use their 2-hander, and the orc sets the bar. He gets a 3, which is turned to a 2, and the elf gets a 6. The elf will need force to kill, and he gets it. The Urukai is slain. Next we have Jonner against 2 men of Numenor, and Jonner will set the bar and he gets a 5, and the men of Numenor gets a 5 and a 2, but Jonner has the ability to make the enemy re-roll one dual roll, and they will re-roll the 5, getting a 3, which means he wins the fight. Needing 5s to kill the man, and he gets the 6, the man is slain. Next we have an orc with shield and 1 with spear against 2 men of Numenor, and the orcs will set the bar and they get a 4, and the Numenorians get a 5. They need 5s to kill the orc and they get the 6, the orc with shield is slain. Next we have Louison and Carsonil against Joshok, and Joshok will set the bar. He gets a 6, that is really strong for him. Louison cannot beat that because he fights two-handedly. And Carsonil, can he do something about this? No! Joshok will make strikes against Carsonil, needing 5s, and he gets the 6. Fate roll for Carsonil, and he saves. Next we have the giant spider against the man of Numenor, and the man sets the bar. He gets a 6 and the spider gets a 5. Needing force to wound the spider, getting a 1. Priority for the next turn goes to the last alliance. Alright, I just have to say this game is so cool. There are a lot of tactical choices to make, and right now Carsonil has sent one of his spearmen back to help out against the spider, and the Numenorian with bow moved in contact so he gets the support, and the spider of course will move after into combat over here. Simonir moved over to this side to have a line of sight to this orc, trying to shoot him off the objective. However, it's 2 in the way rolls to get that done. He is still within 3 though, but they have lost this objective as of now. In the middle there are a clash of warriors fighting for their lives and for supremacy on the battlefield. Let's go into shooting phase. Starting with the elf Simonir, who will fire at the archer over here, needing a 4-up to hit because he moved and he misses. The orc archer will fire as well, but he will fire at the spearman in the back over here, needing a 5-up to hit, and he misses. Going into the fight phase, starting with the giant spider against these 2 Numenorians, and the giant spider sets the bar. He gets a 6. The Numenorians do have a higher fight value, but they still need a 6 to win this fight, and they don't get it. And the spider has a strength of 5, which means he will wound on force with his 2 attack on the archer. Can he do it? He does! And the Numenorian is slain. 1 kill for the spider. Next we have Krishla against an elf, and Krishla will set the bar. He gets a 6 and the elf gets a 6 as well, but that is turned down to a 5, losing the fight. Krishla will need 5s to kill. Can he do it? Gets a 4 and turns that into a 5 using a points of might, which means the elf is slain. Next we have Jonner and a friend against 2 Numenorians, and the Uruk-hai with 200 weapon will use that. Jonner will start setting the bar at a 1 and his friend getting a 2, and the 2 men, can they beat it? Yes, they beat it with a 5. The first strike will go at the Uruk-hai with a 200 weapon, needing a 4 up to kill him. And they get it, the Uruk-hai is slain. And the last attack on Jonner, and no, not good enough. Actually, Jonner could have made the Men of Numenor re-roll their 5, so we'll just do that, and they get a 3, so they win either way, and the result is the same. Carsonil and Louisan is next against Joshok and a friend, and Carsonil sets the bar. He gets a 1 and Louisan gets a 5, which is turned down to a 4, and Joshok getting a 3 and his orc friend getting a 3 as well. Now Joshok has a point of might and he has a fight of 5, so he can force a roll off if he uses a point of might, and he will do that. So he will make this a 4, but then Louisan will make his 5 a 6, turning it down to a 5, so they win either way, but they spent up some mights. Carsonil will start and he will need 4s to wound, and he gets the 6. Can Louisan do something as well, needing a 4, and he gets a 5. That means that Joshok is slain, as he has only 1 fate point. But the game is not over yet. Priority for the next turn goes to the last alliance. Both of the forces are dwindling, but I feel that the last alliance has an edge in terms of strength on the battlefield. However, as things are right now, the orcs have 2 objectives over there and the last alliance have only 1. So this can go either way. Let's get into the shoot phase. Simonid once again will try to fire at this orc, shooting him off the objective, needing a 3 up to hit, and he misses. This orc will fire at the spearman over there, needing a 5 up to hit, and he hits. In the way roll because of the tomb, and it goes through. And now he needs a 6 to kill. Can he do it? Can the orc do it? He does! The man is slain. Incredible shooting from the orc. Alright, getting into the fight phase. This is going to determine the outcome of the battle, I feel. So Krishla and a man are fighting, and Krishla sets the bar. He gets a 2, and the man gets a 1! Needing 5s to kill the man, and nope. Carsonil against Jonner, and Jonner sets the bar, getting a 2. And Carsonil gets a 5, but have to reroll because of the parry rule for Jonner, and gets a 3 and wins either way. Needing 4s to wound, and gets a 3. He will use his points of might, turning that into a 4, wounding Jonner, but Jonner has to take a fate roll. Can he do this? No, he does not. But he has also a point of might, so he will turn that into a 4, saving himself. There are no might left on the board on either side, and Louisan is going to fight this orc. The orc will set the bar, getting a 5. Louisan needs a 6 here, he gets the 5. That is not good enough, and the orc can make strikes, needing a 5 to wound. Nope. Next we have the giant spider against the man with spear and shield, and the giant spider sets the bar, getting a 5, and the man gets a 3. The spider has a strength of 5, and even though this guy has a shield, he only needs 4s to wound. The spider is incredibly strong, and can he finish him off? No! Double 3s! Priority for the next turn goes to the last alliance. Alright, so that is movement done. Simonid is still standing still, trying to fire at the orc over there. And this man went around the spider and trying to get to this objective. He is within range, and Louisan changed his directions and moving into combat with this spider. That can be a tricky fight, but he does it either way. And now only Carsonil and one friend is fighting 3 orcs over here, so this game is not decided by any means, and it's still really exciting. Let's go into the shoot phase. Simonid firing at the orc, needing a 3 up to hit, and he hits 4 up in the way to get through the hill crest, and he doesn't get it. The orc no longer has any targets that he can hit without a penalty, and he will not risk the lives of his friends in the middle as they have the advantage. Now let's get into the fight phase. Louison against the spider, and the spider sets the bar, getting a 4. Louison gets a 2. The spider will need 4s to slay Louison, and getting a 5 and a 6. I'm sorry, Louison, you're slain. Next we have Krishla against this Numenorian, and Krishla sets the bar, getting a 5. The Numenorian gets a 2. 5s to kill? No. Alright, Carson has a choice to make. He would preferably shield in this situation as he is outmanned, but the result of that will not be a kill for him, and he needs to kill one more orc to break them. As his battle company is broken, he will choose to fight normally. And Carson will set the bar in this fight, getting a 3. The orc with spear gets a 3 as well, and Joshua gets a 1. I'm sorry, that was Jonner, and he can make him re-roll this die. Not good, not good, and that makes him lose the fights. Carson is out of fates, and Jonner will try to wound him on a 5, and he doesn't get it. And the one with spear, he gets the 6. Carson is slain. Oh no! Alright, as the last alliance have been broken, we will need to roll if the battle ends. On a 1 or a 2 it will, and as it stands right now, the game is actually a draw. Because no one is controlling the center objective, you have to have no enemies within range of it, and each battle company controls 2 objectives each. So as right now it's a draw. On a 1 or a 2 the battle will end, and it's a 4, so we continue on for another turn. The last alliance gets a 5 and the orcs gets a 6. This is not looking good for the last alliance. The giant spider moved around this warrior and blocked him from the objective. He has actually a little bit closer. Simonir will have to try to shoot off this orc now. If he cannot do it, I fear this will be the end for this battle. And over here we have 3 against 1. A lonely Numenorian with shield. Let's get into the shoot phase. Alright, Simonir will try to slay the orc, needing a 3 up to hit, and he hits. Needing a 4 up to get through the hill crest, and he gets the 6. The orc is actually partially hidden behind this rock as well, so we will need another 4 to get through that, and he does. He will need a 5 up to kill the orc, and he gets the 6. The orc is slain and removed from the objective. Actually, I forgot to roll the courage check for Simonir. Let's just see if he stayed. Yeah, he did. Next, we have the giant spider against this man, and the giant spider gets a 6, and the man will get a 2. The spider will need force, and he gets a 6. The man is slain. This Numenorian will be shielding, and he gets a 4. And I think it's, yeah, Krishla gets a 5, which means he wins the fights. Krishla will need 5s to kill, and he gets the 6, slaying the man. As it stands right now, Cirith Ungol has 3 objectives, and the last alliance has only 1. On a roll of a 1 or a 2, the game will end. And it is a 1. Cirith Ungol is the victorious party, and congratulations to them. We will move over to the next combat, or the next scenario now. Alright, so before we start the next battle, we have to check if Malarzian in the front here will suffer from his old battle wound. Let's see. He gets a 6, so he can join the battle. In addition to this, the Karna warband has a 16-point favor towards the Osgiliath warband, so they will have 2 more warriors with shield to make up for that, to make it an even battle. Now, let's get into deployment. Alright, so the forces have deployed, and Osgiliath have deployed most of their forces in the middle, wanting to go up into the center objective. They're having 1 ranger standing on this objective over here, and Malarzian on the flank, maybe trying to outflank the enemy, and 1 ranger on this objective. The Karna warband has Jacksonell and a friend standing on this objective, and 2 archers over on this side. In the middle we have 6 warriors and the 2 heroes, or 4 warriors and the 2 heroes, going to fight for the middle objective. So we will go into priority and see how this turns out. Good luck to both companies. Priority for the first turn goes to Karna. Okay, so that is movement done, and not unexpectedly, both of the main forces are charging towards the middle objective to try to win that for their company. One Karna archer moved a little bit to the left to get a better firing lane, and Jacksonell also moved forward half to still be able to shoot. The Osgiliath Rangers stood still to fire their bows, and Malarzian moved up onto the hill. Remember, he can move full and still fire with no penalty. So let's go into the shoot phase for Karna. Starting with Jacksonell, he will fire at the ranger on this objective, getting a thought that it would be wise to dispatch of him as soon as possible to gain the advantage, needing a 4-up to hit because he moved and he hits. Needing a 4-up to get over the hill crest, and no. The other warrior will fire into the one with shield on the edge over there, needing a 4-up to hit because he stood still, and he hits. Alright, so correct me if I'm wrong, but these three warriors are in base contact, and that means that the one that is fired upon has the shield wall. I believe it's from shooting as well as in close combat, but again, correct me if I'm wrong. But if that's the case, the Karna warrior will need 6s by 4s to wound, and he gets nothing. Next, this warrior on the closest one will fire at Malarzian, needing a 3 or a 5-up to hit because he moved and he misses. And the other archer will fire into this one with shield on the edge, needing a 3 or 4-up to hit, and again needing 6s by 4s to wound. Nothing. The Rangers will fire back, and this one will fire at Jacksonell over here, needing a 3-up to hit because he stood still and he misses. This Ranger over here don't have the range to get into the back line, so he will fire at these spearmen in the front, needing a 3-up to hit, and he hits. Needing 5s to kill, and no. Malarzian will fire into these spearmen, and he needs a 3-up to hit. He gets the 6 and hits. Needing 5s to kill, no. Priority for the next turn goes to Osgiliath. Movement is done. Osgiliath moved up and encircled the central objective. The Karna warband moved up to one side to try to negate some of the charges next turn. Malarzian continued his march. The ranger stood still, and Jacksonell moved half to get closer to his comrades, helping them out in close combat eventually. And let's go to the shoot phase. Starting with Malarzian, he will fire at this archer over here. He needs a 3-up to hit, and he hits. 5s to kill, and no. Next we have this ranger over here. He will fire into the first spearman, and he needs a 3-up to hit, and he hits. 5s to kill, and he gets the 6 and slays this warrior. Next we have this ranger who will fire into Jacksonell, needing a 3-up to hit, and he hits, and needing a 5 to wound, and he gets the 6 as well. Can you save this with a fate point, Jacksonell? Yes, you do. Moving over to Karna's shooting phase, Jacksonell will fire back at the ranger, needing a 4-up to hit, and he hits. Can he get the in the way roll? No, he does not. Next, this archer will fire into the warriors over there, needing a 3-up or 4-up to hit, and he misses. Next, we have these two archers over here. The one closest will fire at Malarzian. He needs a 3-up, and he hits. Now he needs a 5 to wound, and no, but he has poisoned arrows, so he can re-roll this roll and gets another one. The last archer over there will fire into these guys, and he needs a 4-up, and he misses. Priority for the next turn goes to the last alliance. No, not the last alliance, but Osgiliath. Movement is done, and Karna's tactical sidestep prevented Doritor from getting into combat, but a lot of them did. It's a 6-on-5 scenario, so because Osgiliath got priority, they can choose the order of fights. Jacksonell also moved closer, half speed, to be able to shoot. He could not get quite into combat, and the other archers stood still, and that is also true for the rangers. So let's go into the shooting phase for Osgiliath. Starting with Malarsian, he will fire at one of the archers and he needs a 3-up to hit and he misses. This ranger over here will fire at Jacksonel, needing a 3-up and he hits. Now he needs a 5 to wound and he doesn't get it. This ranger over here will also fire at Jacksonel, but he has the tomb in the way, needing a 3-up to hit and he misses. Karna shooting, starting with Jacksonel at this ranger once again, needing a 4-up to hit and he misses. Next we have this archer who moved a little bit out to the right to get a firing lane to this ranger and he needs a 5-up to hit because he moved and he hits. 4-up in the way and it goes through. Needing 5s to kill, can he do it? No, but poisoned arrows, he can re-roll that. Nope, not good enough. Next, these two archers will fire at Malarsian and they need 4-up to hit because they stood still. One of them hits and they need a 5 to wound and getting a 3. The first fight is Stuart Lim against Michael Lear and he chose not to have this friend support him because he's going to shield. And he sets the bar and getting a 3. And Stuart Lim having 3 attacks with this new upgrade, getting a 6, 5 and 4. So he wins the fight. Stuart Lim will however need 6s to wound and he gets nothing. Next we have 2 warriors of Osgiliath against a regular Karna warrior and the Karna warrior gets a 5 and the warriors of Osgiliath gets a 3. Needing 6s to kill and gets a 1. Next we have a one-on-one fight and the Karna warrior gets a 3 and the Osgiliath warrior gets a 6. I actually forgot to move Jeremiah in the movement phase, I just moved him into combat over here. But we will roll to wound on this combat, needing a 5 to kill the warrior and gets the 6. He's killed. Jeremiah and Tylero are each fighting each other with a friend to support them. Jeremiah will set the bar with his 2 attacks. He gets a 3 and his friend gets a 2. Tylero, what do you get? You get a 3 as well and your friend gets a 3. Now it's a tie, but Jeremiah has the what's it called, Blade Master, so he can reroll 1 dual roll. He will reroll his 2 and gets the 6, winning the fight. Needing 6s to kill the warrior and Jeremiah will start getting a 6, so he is slain. Alright, so that is the fight phase done and the kills are starting to come through. We'll roll the priority for the next turn and it goes to Osgiliath. Alright, a lot of fights are breaking out and Malarsian climbed down from the hill, getting into contact with this warrior over here. Tylero tried to team up with a friend against Jeremiah, but Jacksonel saw that cunning move and went into combat with Tylero, so we'll have an epic hero fight over there. They send towards the fray another archer because they don't have any valid targets, or they could fire but they want to risk it for the biscuit. So now they're just holding their objectives with 2 warriors on each side, and it is the central ground that is important for the outcome of this battle. No shooting, so straight into combat, starting with Jacksonel and Tylero, and Jacksonel sets the bar. Oh, he gets a 1. Tylero gets a 1 as well, and the fight is a tie. We need to roll off, if not any of them wishes to use might. I don't think so. Let's roll off and see what happens. 1 to 3 goes to Jacksonel, and it does. Needing 6s to wound Tylero and gets a 4. Next we have Doritor against Jeremiah, and Doritor will be shielding. Jeremiah gets a 6 and so does Doritor, but I think, yeah, he has a lower fight value, so he loses and have to defend himself against the vicious strikes of Jeremiah. Oh my lord. Jeremiah, of course, have 2 attacks. I totally forgot to roll that, but he won either way. So that's that. He will need 6s to wound Doritor, and he doesn't get it. Next, we have a one-on-one, and the evil side gets a 3. The good side gets a 2. Needing 6s to kill, and gets the 6 and slays the Gondorian. Next, we have Malarsian and a friend against a Karna warrior, and Malarsian sets the bar. He gets a 2, and his friend gets a 5, and the warrior of Karna gets a 6. Trying to strike Malarsian as he is the softer target after all, needing a 5 to wound him, and he gets a 1. Michaelir and a friend is facing down Sturtlim, and Sturtlim has 3 attacks, setting the bar at a 2. Oh no, that is terrible. Michaelir, you get a 1. And your friend, can you do this? Gets the 6. And Michaelir needs 4 up to wound Sturtlim, and he gets a 6, and his friend gets a 3. Fate roll for Sturtlim, and he saves. Priority for the next turn goes to the forces of Karna. Alright, so it's kind of an even fight right now. Both armies have lost 2 casualties and the fight is on once again. And lots of one-on-one fights in the middle over here. Jacksonell facing Tylero and Doritor against Jeremiah. And we have Sturtlim against Michaelir. So a lot of heroes are in engagement. And this will be really exciting to see how this plays out, as Osgiliath has the defense on their side. The Karna warriors are ruthless and are deadly in close combat. So let's see how this plays out. No shooting and straight into the fight phase. Starting with Jacksonell and Tylero over here. Jacksonell sets the bar. He has only 1 attack because he is an archer. Tylero gets a 4, and that means he wins the fight. Needing a 4 to wound Jacksonell and gets the 5, but Jacksonell has 2 fate points. He has used 1, but he can still save. Can he do it? Yes, he does. Next we have Doritor against Jeremiah, and Doritor will be shielding, setting the bar at a 3, and that is not good. I fear Jeremiah will take this, and no, he gets double 1s. But doesn't he have some dual shenanigans? Jeremiah, yes, he has the Blade Master, he can reroll 1 die. He needs to beat a 3, and he gets a 3 exactly, but he wins on fight value. But he still needs 6s to wound Doritor. Can he do it? No. Next, Malarsian is put in the hot seat, and he fights a warrior of Karna. The warrior gets a 5, and Malarsian gets a 1. The warrior of Karna will need 5s to wound, and he gets a 1. Next, 2 of the regular warriors in the middle here are fighting, and the evil side gets a 1, and the warrior of Osgiliath gets a 2, barely snatching the victory. Needing a 5 to kill the warrior, and he gets a 4. Next, we have a one-on-one on the edge over here, and the evil side gets a 5, the good side gets a 5 as well, and I think that is a draw. It is, and it's a roll-off, so 1 to 3 goes to evil, and it goes to good this time. Needing 5s to kill, and gets a 3. And lastly, we have Sturtlim against Michaelir. No casualties yet this turn, and Michaelir will be shielding, and he gets double 1s. Oh no! 3 attacks from Sturtlim, easy win. Needing 6s to wound Michaelir, and he gets triple 1s! I mean, I need to be the one guy or something. I forgot in the shooting phase, these 2 can fire at each other actually, so let's do the Karna one first, as they had priority, I think. Yeah, I think they did. So he will need a 4 up to hit, and he misses. And the ranger will fire back, needing a 3 up, and he misses as well. Priority for the next turn, now something needs to happen, goes to Osgiliath. Alright, so the fights are just about the same, but we'll do the shooting first this time, and the ranger will fire into this warrior over here. In this battle of arrows, he hits, and he will need a 5 to kill, and he gets a 2. The archer of Karna is firing back, and he misses. Once again, we have Tylero against Jacksonell, and Jacksonell sets the bar. He gets a 4, and Tylero gets a 6. Needing 5s to wound, I think. No, he needs 4s actually, because Jacksonell only has a defense of 3. So, and he gets the 4. And Jacksonell sadly is out of fate, so he is gone. Next we have this combat, and Doritor will once again shield against his attacker, getting a 6, and Jeremiah gets a 5. Okay, so Jeremiah could use a point of might here, turning his roll into a 6. Oh wait, he has the Blade Master. He can reroll 1 of the die, and he gets 4. So the same scenario applies. He could use a point of might, turning the battle in his favor. But I think he will choose not to, because he has 2 attacks and needs a 6 to kill Doritor, and Doritor still has a point of fate. So the odds are against him, so he will just try to tank the hit from Doritor. Excuse me, sorry, Doritor were shielding, so no strikes after all. Malarzian against an archer, and Malarzian sets the bar, getting a 4, and the archer gets a 6. Needing 5s to wound and getting a 3. Next, 1-on-1 in the middle, and the good side gets a 1, and the evil side gets a 4. Needing 6s, and no. Another 1-on-1 fight over here, and the evil side gets a 2, the good side gets a 1. Needing 6s, and he gets it! The warrior is slain. Once again, we have Michael Lear against Stuart Lim, and Michael Lear will be shielding as he has only 1 attack, and he gets a 2. Stuart Lim wins on a 4. Needing 6s, 50% chance, getting a 5. Stuart Lim uses his might point, turning that into a 6, causing a wound. And now we will have to try and save Michael Lear with his fate, and he gets a 5, saving himself. Alright, so the battle is very, very interesting in my opinion. Some casualties on each side, but as of right now, the Osgiliath force is outnumbering the Karna force. But the Karna warriors have more attacks, so this can go either way. Let's go into priority. Osgiliath gets a 4 and Karna gets a 5. Going into the shooting phase, this warrior of Karna will fire at the ranger once again, needing a 4, and he hits 4 up to clear the hill crest, and no. The ranger will fire back, needing a 3 up to hit, and he hits, needing a 5 to kill, and he gets the 5! The warrior is slain. Alright, Tylero and Doritor are fighting Jeremiah, and Jeremiah sets the bar, getting a 6. That is a wonderful start. Tylero gets a 3, and Doritor gets a 6 as well, and the fight is even, because Tylero has a fight of 4, and that 2 is true for Jeremiah. So it's a roll-off. On a 1 to 2 goes to evil, or 1 to 3 goes to evil, and it does. Needing 6s to kill Doritor, and gets the 6, but Doritor has a point of fate. Can he save himself? No, he cannot. He's slain. Next we have Malarzian against an archer, and the archer gets a 2, Malarzian gets a 4. Needing 5s to kill, and gets a 2. 2 against 1 over here, and the warrior of Minas Tirith will be shielding, and he gets a 5, and the other warriors gets a 6. Needing 6s to kill, and they get it! The warrior is slain. Michael Lear against Stuart Lim, and Stuart Lim sets the bar, he gets a 4. Michael Lear, who is shielding, getting a 6, winning the fight. Alright, so no force has been broken just yet, but here is some interesting things to think about. Osgiliath has 2 objectives and Karna has only 1. Though the Karna warband outnumber the Osgiliath's force in the middle, so they will have to do some maneuvering and some tactical stuff to be able to win this fight, or get the advantage rather. So let's go into priority. Let's start with Osgiliath. They get a 5 and Karna gets a 4. Alright, so Karna went into combat, or Osgiliath went into combat as best they could, trying to negate the Karna warband from getting favorable fights. But Karna sent 1 warrior towards this objective over here. They need to claim 1 to be able to win this, and they are still outnumbering the Osgiliath force in the middle, so we'll have to just see how this plays out. However, this warrior could not get out of range of this ranger over here, so the ranger will fire, and he needs a 3 up to hit, and he gets a 1, missing completely. Next we have Tylero against Jeremiah, and Tylero will set the bar. He gets a 2, Jeremiah gets a 3. Needing 6s to wound Tylero, and gets the 6. Tylero will need to take a fate roll, and he saves. Malarzian against a warrior, and Malarzian sets the bar, getting a 4, and the warrior gets a 3. Needing 5s to wound, and gets the 6, slaying the warrior. Now in this fight over here, Michael Lear will be shielding, setting the bar, getting double 4s. And Stuart Lim with his 3 attacks gets double 6 and a 5, intent on killing Michael Lear. Stuart Lim will need 6s and he gets a 4. And his friends need 6s as well and also getting a 4. So no kills for them. And still no force is broken. Only 1 kill on each side will force the roll. And we'll have to take priority once again. Osgiliath gets a 6 and Karna gets a 4. So Osgiliath gets the first turn. So the heroes are fighting on with their vigor and go-getter will, and they are in combat, all of them. And this warrior over here just didn't get enough movement to get to the objective. So if Osgiliath is to win, this is the turn they have to do it. But as well, the Karna warband can still take this victory with a couple of kills, forcing the break of the Osgiliath warband. So let's get into the shooting phase. This ranger will fire upon this one with spear, needing a 3-up to hit, and he misses. Tylero against Jeremiah, and Tylero sets the bar, getting a 3, and Jeremiah getting the 6. Needing 6s to wound Tylero, getting a 5. Jeremiah will use his points of might, turning that into a 6, slaying Tylero. Malarsian against this warrior, and Malarsian sets the bar, getting a 6 and winning the fight. Needing a 5 to kill, and he gets the 6, slaying the warrior. And the last fight over here, Michael Lear will be shielding, and Stuart Lim gets a 3, and Michael Lear gets a 5. Alright, so both forces were broken at the same time, and we have to roll if the battle ends. If the battle ends right now, Osgiliath will be victorious. So let's see the roll of a die. It's the fate of many, and it is a 6, so we get another turn. Priority goes to Osgiliath. Starting the courage test, Malarsian gets a 9, so he stays. Michael Lear gets an 8, so he will also stay. Now, this ranger over here, can they get a 7? And they get a 9, standing fast on to the objective. And the last ranger over there, they get a 4. They flee the battlefield, losing the objective. Now, Michael Lear and Malarsian went into combat with Stuart Lim, forcing the evil side to take courage tests as well. Let's see how they get, if they get out of this one. Starting with Jeremiah, and he gets an 8, so he stays. Next, we have this warrior over here, and he flees. Just double checking if he is within range, and no, he is not, so he flees the battlefield. And now we have this warrior over here. He will need a 7 to stay on the battlefield. This is exciting and frankly game-breaking. And no double ones! What's up with this game? He flees! Not many models left on the battlefield, but this is still not decided. Stuart Lim will fight Michael Lear, and Michael Lear will be shielding. Stuart Lim sets the bar, getting a 5. Michael Lear, can you beat this? Getting a 5 as well. Michael Lear will use his points of might now, turning this into a 6, winning the fight, but cannot make strikes, but it is important to survive right now. Jeremiah against Malarsian. Jeremiah gets double 5s. Malarsian, can you do something about this? Getting a 6. Jeremiah has a defense of 4 because he got upgraded. Malarsian needs a 5 to wound and gets the 6. Jeremiah has a fate point and he saves. And now once again comes the exciting part. Will Osgiliath win on a roll of a 1 or a 2? Let's see, they get a 2. The game is finished and they control this objective for 1 point and no one has claimed this one. So, or wait, we have to check if Jeremiah is within range actually. He is not, unfortunately. That was just not enough to tie the game and Osgiliath win. Now let's get into the post-battle. Alright, welcome to the post-battle. We will start with injury rolls for the last lines. Starting with warriors from the left. And the left one gets an 8, which is a full recovery. Next one gets an 8, full recovery. And the next one gets a 6, full recovery. Next one, 4 have to miss the next game. And the next one, a 7, full recovery. And the last warrior gets a 5, which means he has to miss the next game as well. On to the heroes, starting with Carneal. He gets an 8, which is a full recovery. And that means that he loses his old battle wound as well. Let's go on to Louison, and he gets a 6, which is a full recovery. And that also means that he loses his old battle wound. And we have an Urukai, and he gets a 7, full recovery. And the next orc with shield, 8, full recovery. Another Urukai with two-handed weapon gets an 11, full recovery. And we have Joshok, the hero, and he gets a 7, which is a full recovery as well. Next we have Osgiliath and their injury rolls, starting with warriors to the left, and a 6, which is a full recovery, and the other one gets a 5, which means he has to miss the next battle. Next we have Doritor, which is a hero, and he gets a 5, and that is leg wound. So he is injured, he can still participate, but -1 penalty to his movement. And lastly we have Tylero, he gets a 12, what? Protected by the Valar, so he gets a permanent fate point. Nice for him. So he gets 2 fate now. Lastly, we have Karna, starting with their warriors from the left, and they get a 5, which means he has to miss the next battle, and the next one gets an 8, so that's a full recovery. And the next one gets 7, full recovery, and the next one 11, full recovery. The last warrior gets 10, full recovery. And we have Jacksonel, who is a hero, getting a 6, which is a full recovery. Alright, moving over to advancements. The last lines had 2 warriors who they are going to miss the next game, unfortunately, but they can become heroes. Let's start with the right one. On a 6, he becomes a hero, and he does not. And the other one, no. Alright, so we have Simonir, who is on the path of the ranger, and he gets 12. That is lethal aim. The hero may spend a single free point of might during each shoot phase. This can either be to improve a hit, wound, or in the way roll. That is actually amazing. Next we have Louison on the path of the warrior, and he gets a 9, and that is Blade Master. The hero may re-roll a single d6 when making dual rolls, so that is really nice for him. Alright, so we have Cirith Ungol, the spider, and 2 warriors, and Krishla got enough experience. So let's start with the spider. And he gets a 6, so he becomes a hero. Cool. Next we have this orc with spear, and he gets a 2, so nothing for him. And the archer in the back, getting a 1, so nothing for him either. And now we have Krishla on the path of the general, and he gets a 10, and that is might or will, so he will get 1 might point. Wonderful. On to Osgiliath. This ranger warrior got enough, so we can try to make him a hero, and he is still a warrior, so let's remove him. We have Michaelir, which is on the path of the general, and he gets a 7, and that is courage. Okay, so he has now a courage of 4, which is nice for him. Malaysian once again got enough kills, so he will roll on the path of the ranger, getting a 9, and that is defense. May only be increased once, yeah, but he doesn't have that from before, so congratulations to you. Alright, moving over to Karna, starting with the archer in the back. He can be promoted, and he becomes a warrior of Karna, which means he gets 1 better shoot value. So he now has a shoot value of 3. Next we have this warrior with the spear, and he gets a 1, so no upgrade for him. Jacksonel on the right hand side continues on the path of the ranger, and he gets 7, and that is shoot. The hero may increase their shoot value by 1 up to a 3+, but he already has a 3+ shoot. So we will roll again and getting double 1s. Master Archer, the hero may declare a heroic shoot each turn without expending might to do so, so that can be useful. Jeremiah is next, continuing on the path of the warrior. He gets a 4, which is deadly strength. And the hero gains the burly special rule. Additionally, the hero may now purchase 200 weapon from the armory, even if they could not previously. I don't think that one is really useful for him actually. So I think he will just take the one that makes him cause terror. That is his army special 1. Alright, so as for reinforcements, there are none, because the ones that won this battle used it on a rallying horn. So now every warband has a rallying horn, which will speed up the process of getting stronger warriors in the later parts of the game. And there were not enough points to roll on the reinforcements tables. So that is it for now. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. See you next week for the next episode, and take care. Bye.